Om Shri Ganeshaya Namaha. Om Aim Rim Klim Chamundai Viche. 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 This is the 13th and final installment of the Chandi Path. Atha Trayodashodhyayaha, the 13th chapter. Rishir Uvat, the Rishi said, I have now narrated to you, O king, this sublime poem on the glory of the Devi. The Devi is endowed with such majestic power. By her this world is upheld. Knowledge is similarly conferred by her, the elusive power of Bhagavan Vishnu. By her, you, this merchant, and other men of discrimination are being deluded, and others were deluded in the past and will be deluded in the future. O great king, take refuge in her, the supreme Ishwari. She indeed, when worshipped, bestows on men enjoyment, heaven, and final release from transmigration. Markandeya said to his disciple Bhaguri, O great sage, King Suratha, who had become despondent consequent on his excessive attachment, and the deprivation of his kingdom, and the merchant, having heard this speech, prostrated before the illustrious Rishi of severe penances, and immediately repaired to perform austerities. Both the king and the merchant, in order to obtain a vision of Amba, stationed themselves on the sandbank of a river, and practiced penances, chanting the supreme Devi Sukta, hymn to the Devi. Having made an earthen image of the Devi on the sands of the river, they both worshipped her with flowers, incense, fire, and libation of water. Now abstaining from food, and now restraining in their food, with their minds on her, and with concentration, they both offered sacrifices to her. When they, with controlled minds, propitiated her thus for 3 years, Chandika, the upholder of the worlds, was well pleased and spoke to them in visible form. The Devi said, What you solicit, O king, and you, the delight of your family, receive all that. Well pleased, I bestow these to you both. Markandeya said, Then the king chose a kingdom, imperishable even in another life, and in this life itself his own kingdom, wherein the power of his enemies is destroyed by force. Then the wise merchant also, whose mind was full of dispassion for the world, chose that knowledge, which removes the attachment in the form of mine and I. The Devi said, O king, after slaying your foes in a few days, you shall obtain your own kingdom, and it shall last with you there. And after that, you shall gain another birth from the Dev Vivaswat, the sun, and shall be a Manu on the earth by the name Savarni. And O the best of merchants, I grant you the boon which you have desired of me. Supreme knowledge shall be yours for your self-realization. Markandeya said, Having thus granted them both the boon that they each desired, the Devi disappeared forthwith, as they were extolling her with devotion. Having thus gained the boon from the Devi, Suratha, the foremost of Kshatriyas, shall obtain a new birth through Surya and his wife Savarna, and shall be the 8th Manu named Savarni, and shall be the 8th Manu named Savarni. Here ends the 13th chapter, called The Bestowing of the Boons to Suratha and the Vaishya of Devi Mahatmyam in the Markandeya Puran during the period of Savarni, the Manu. Here ends the Devi Mahatmyam of 700 mantras. Om Tat Sat Om.